All right, recording in progress. I love that. Okay. Recording is in progress. That lets us know that something is about to happen. And
Yes.
baby, when I tell you today something is about to happen, we got Meida Olliverria in the house.
Yes.
Ooh-wee. And for those of you who don't know, you best to get ready, okay? All right. Welcome. Welcome, all you Elizabeths, to our Friday Passionate Day. And we are so happy that you and your heart have decided to take this journey with us. All right. It has been a wonderful. Oh, look at the spoon over there. I'm so excited. Oh, I'm so excited for all of us as we take this journey. We're entering into a new year, a new season, a new way of being, and so anything and everything last year that did not serve you, let it die. Just let it die. Let it die. Be gone with you. Say
Be
bye-bye.
gone.
Whatever, be gone. Say bye-bye. You know what? And oftentimes it's easier than what we think it is.
Yeah.
It really, really is, and it reminds me of at the end of The Wizard of Oz, when the good witch said, Dorothy, you had the power all along to go home. She
Yeah.
said, I did. She said, yes, this is all you had to do. So all of those things that you think is hard to let go of, with it, baby, click your heels 3 times and be gone with it. Okay?
Yes.
Be gone. Oh my goodness. So I thank you. I thank you for taking this journey with us. Today's reading comes from Grace for the Moment, and it's by Max Lucado. And today's reading says, be at home with God. If people love me, they will obey my teaching, and my Father will love them, and we will come to them and make our home with them. John 14:23. God wants you God wants to be your dwelling place. Can you even imagine?
Yeah.
Can you imagine that God wants to be your dwelling place?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God.
Mm-hmm.
He has no interest in being a weekend getaway or a Sunday bungalow or a summer cottage.
I love
No interest in that. Don't consider using God as a vacation cabin or an eventual retirement home. He wants you under his roof right now and for always.
Yeah.
He wants to be your mailing address, your point of reference. He wants to be your home. For many, this is a new thought. We think of God as a deity to discuss, not a place to dwell. We think of God as a mysterious miracle worker, not a house to live in. We think of God as a creator to call on, not a home to reside in.
Yes. Yes.
But our Father wants to be much, much more. He wants to be the one in whom we live and move and have our being.
Yeah.
Oh, that deliciousness is from one of my favorite authors, Max Lucado, and it's from Grace for the Moment. And when I want some good stuff, and I can really reach in any direction and get some good stuff. But when I really want something to speak to my heart, there are few places I go to where I know I won't be disappointed.
Yeah.
First of all, my favorite Bible is the Message Bible. Okay, I can go there, baby, and get a word. My friend Alicia know I love that Message Bible, baby. And so I reach for it. And if let me tell you something, any book you have that is in your library, it's in your library, okay? You feel enough about it because It's in your library. You bought it. Somebody gave it to you and you decided to keep it. So it means something to you. And if it doesn't, if you have books that don't make you feel like that, you need to pass them on to other people. Clear up some clutter, okay? So that means that wherever you reach onto your shelf and pull it down and open it up, it'll have a word for you at any given time, whenever you need it. All right. So one of my go-tos is Max Lucado, Grace for the Moment, volumes 1 and 2. Okay. Okay. So that's our word for the day. Let God dwell inside you. Was it Jackie that sang that beautiful song last week?
Yeah.
Abide.
Use me.
Abide.
It was use me,
Okay.
oh God.
Use me, oh God.
Mhm.
All right. And I will abide in you. Yes. So invite God in to come in and take residence. You know what I'm saying? Let me tell you something. You have given valuable space in your spirit and your mind to people and things that don't serve you well. Why would you not? Why would you not invite God in and say, okay, God, have your perfect way with me. Do what you will, because I know for sure that the very least it could be is good. The very least it could be is good. So yes. Woo, and before I start jumping up out this chair, good morning, Lolly. Good morning, Queen Aduni. How are you both?
Grand Rising. I am wonderful. And it's always beautiful and wonderful to see Lolly smile.
Yeah.
We are to the rest of you.
She's so cute. You know,
Friday.
can I just say that?
Yeah.
She's just too cute. Okay. I just need to say that. She is just too cute. Okay.
Lolly's our baby. You know,
Yeah,
we are the
she our
Friday
baby.
team. We are the Friday team. We take you right into your weekend. And yeah, Lolly's the baby of all of us that come on so far. Let me see. I think Danielle's the second baby.
Yeah.
And then we ride on, and we're still here. And I'm excited this week. Well, every week is always powerful and revealing. Yesterday, we burnt up some more stuff in our lives. It was awesome yesterday, the day before. Every day is just awesome. And you know, I just want to welcome all of you. I thank God for being used. And you know what, I was thinking about what my purpose is. And Danny, it's not going to be in 11 words or whatever that number is, but I do have it.
That's
I
all
do have
right.
it down. So my purpose is I create the space and the opportunities for people to express and experience their full self-expression, their passion, and get paid. So when I was thinking about Elizabeth and how some have come and then their life has blown up and they're now doing some other things. So they're not the leader or always here present. But it was, you know, it's because that's what I am supposed to be doing, is creating that space and those opportunities for you to share what you are about, for you to share. And then as you share, because the more you speak about what you're about, Esther Hicks says, you know, is that Esther that says that? You know, you see it, you speak it, and then you talk yourself into it by talking about it. You don't talk to everybody about it, but you know, those your Elizabeths, you talk about it. You talk yourself into it. And so I just thank God for allowing me to be that conduit.
That conduit.
Have
yes.
To give us those opportunities. And I'm excited about our guest. I've been knowing her probably, I don't know if I've known her as long as Danny has, but
30
I love
years.
her.
I don't
And
know.
so, yeah, when it's time for her to get going.
It's more than that. Oh my gosh. She says more than 30 years. Jesus.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Because I've been in the
Oh, that's
grading.
right.
I've
Because
been
I worked
grading
for
for
the
over
city
40
36
years.
years.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yes, 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 yes.
Wow.
So I'm just super excited. I love how God is directing this. I love how I love how God is directing my life, because I am walking more in what Danny has shared today, walking more in the likeness and the joy of the Lord, and learning more about who I am and who I am not, just giving that away, and actually finding out more about who I am is more important than who I am not. Because as I walk more into who I am, that not disappears.
Yes.
It has no value anymore, so I am so pleased and overjoyed for every single one of you, and every new person that pops on gives me joy. And then when you show back up, when you show up again, Lakeisha, I love it. When the new people start coming back, Teresa, and it's all good. Grand Rising Michelle, and and you love the ones that are always here. Star, my sister, all of my family doesn't show up, but that's my partner right there, Star. And I'm just pleased. I'm just pleased. Lolly, look at that
Hey.
smile.
Okay. Well, Grand Risings, ladies.
Grand Rising.
So today, since our guest later will be talking about aromatherapy and stretching, massaging, all of that, I was just like, let me look into something. I just wanted to look into the senses, because oftentimes in spirituality, we use all of our senses, and it's important in our journeys. So I found this I guess article, story, explanation of this story that specifically the Buddha tells. So I'm gonna just read it, and then I'll give my kind of insight on it. But it says, imagine what would happen if you took 6 lengths of rope and tied one end of each to 6 creatures: a snake, a crocodile, a bird, a dog, a jackal, and a monkey. Then tie the other end of all these into a big knot and let go. What do you think would happen? Each of these animals would pull in a different direction, trying to return their favorite haunt. The snake would slither towards its nest in the anthill. The crocodile would pull for the river. The bird would fly up into the air. The dog would head to the village, the jackal to the charnel ground, and the monkey would scamper for the trees. Can you picture such a scene? The Buddha tells a story in the Samyutta Nikaya to illustrate the state of the undisciplined mind, wherein each of the 6 senses, eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, and mind, is drawn to its own domain and to its customary feeding grounds in the pursuit of pleasure. He describes the situation as dwelling with a limited mind, wherein a person has no freedom whatsoever. The solution he offers is to drive a stake through the central knot into the ground, thus binding all 6 animals to the spot. The stake represents mindfulness of the body, and it is the means of attaining freedom. How can this be? Surely this turns our ordinary notion of freedom on its head and offers something thoroughly counterintuitive, if not downright paradoxical. Usually we consider ourselves free only when we can do what we want. and we would consider being tethered to a post the worst kind of bondage. But let's look at the image a little bit more closely and try to figure out what the Buddha has in mind here. Each of the 6 creatures thinks it's free if it can go where it wants, but in fact, each is bound in several ways. First, it is compelled by instinct to pursue pleasure and avoid pain. Next, it generally only knows to seek its gratification in accustomed places. And finally, it can only make headway toward its desired object if it gains a temporary advantage in the tug of war with the others. Before long, each animal will expend its energy in the struggle and will eventually be dragged around by whichever is the strongest. The 6 senses of the human mind and body are bound by an internal constraint more compelling than any rope or stake, insofar as they will always pull in the direction of agreeable objects and away from disagreeable objects. From the Buddha's perspective, the freedom to act on compulsion is an illusory sense of freedom concocted by a constricted and profoundly deluded mind. It's a bit like telling an addict she is free to stop using drugs if she wants, or telling an inmate of an island prison that he can feel free to go anywhere he chooses. Mindfulness practice offers the restraint necessary to overcome the tug of desire upon the senses. As we notice the mind wandering off to explore a gratifying train of thought, or as we notice the body's urging to nudge ourselves into a more comfortable position, we gently abandon the impulse and return attention to the primary object of awareness. We do this again and again until the mind becomes content with being fully present with what it is manifesting here and now in the field of experience, rather than rushing off for some other form of stimulation. As the mind settles down, it becomes considerably more powerful and thus more empowered. The story told by the Buddha ends in a lovely picture of all 6 animals laying down contentedly in one another's company, no longer exerting themselves, no longer yearning for something else. Similarly, when the tug of sense, desire, and aversion has been quieted, when restlessness and sluggishness have been balanced out, when doubts are put aside for time, the mind is able to attend to experience more openly with much greater freedom. With the senses no longer struggling to reach pleasing forms and no longer regarding unpleasing forms as repulsive, the mind is able to see more clearly what is actually arising and falling away. In this mode, the mind is said to be unlimited and to be capable of experiencing a greater freedom through wisdom. So I'll leave that there. But I really thought that was quite interesting because it's this whole what's the word I'm looking for? Starts with it. Metaphor. It's this whole metaphor of these multiple different animals being our different senses, and how oftentimes, oh, we smell something. Oh, okay, this smells like something we want. But maybe our body knows, our physical body, our physical body or our ears, we're like, okay, something isn't right. We smell this, we could go this direction, but maybe that's not what we need to do. So we need to balance that out. And all our senses, really, when we work together, which is called mindfulness, and when we put all our senses together, we can actually walk in wisdom. It's a really interesting approach to coming to it, but I thought it was so interesting because aromatherapy, or even a lot of times in our meditations, we'll burn incense and we'll also meditate, or we'll be in a specific position, or we'll do yoga. And we a lot of times combine all of these things together because each one of our senses plays a vital role in our walk. Even when we're listening to what spirit is telling us, we can pay attention to our smell. We can pay attention to what we're hearing. We can pay attention to what we're seeing. We can pay attention to what we're feeling. We can pay attention. We can be mindful, collecting all of this information, that all of this wisdom that we're getting from spirit. If we can connect them all using everything that we've been given to use, we can have a better walk because we're paying more attention to everything in our present. So it's just, I thought it was interesting, you all, and as you know, I'm going to try to find I'm going to look for a Buddhist viewpoint on different things because that's what I practice mostly. But I think that was very interesting. And I'm just curious to know if there was a time where you got a message from Spirit, a message from God through your senses. I'm just curious.
All the time. All the time. It's interesting that you should say that. We can smell something and then it'll lead us somewhere. We can hear something and it'll take us to someplace else. And once we learn how to live through our own senses, not somebody else's, through our own senses, you are absolutely right. It leads us to wisdom. It leads us to wisdom. But so often we don't trust our own senses. And women have an extra sense. We have the sense of wonder, because we're always in a state of wonder, how God shows up, or I wonder if I can only, oh, I'm so sorry. I can only imagine what Meida had done all of those years ago when she wanted to go to massage training and then become a teacher and then I don't know how to cut this off. Okay. You have 46 new messages. Thursday. I'm sorry. I don't want to hear the messages. Thursday, 1:12.
You're busted. Now we know you don't listen to us.
No, let me tell you what's going on. Okay. Let me tell you what's happening.
I think on the side you can press something to say silent.
Child, let me tell you. Okay. It's unfortunate sometimes. I'm learning. I had a phone problem in my phone line. And so AT&T, this phone doesn't belong in my office. It belongs in my bedroom. But AT&T is no longer supporting people who have landlines. So if you have a landline and something goes wrong with it, they're not going to fix it. They will jerry-rig something. So this phone does not belong in here. However, I was talking about, I wonder back then what Meida was saying to herself, and I'll let her say that when she comes, I wonder what if I became a teacher? What if I followed my senses into this thing called aromatherapy? What if, the wonder that we have, and I'm not saying that men don't wonder, they do, but women have a higher sense of it. And you know what? You can trust it. And you can trust it. Absolutely, you can.
Anyone else want to share? Lolly, ask your question. Oh, who's that?
Yeah.
Go ahead, honey.
I had seen a vision a couple days ago on this city about our babies. And everybody on here has a baby. Otherwise, you would not be here. And the babies, they're all in one womb. And they're crawling all over each other and they're excited and they're looking up because they know that their time is coming. They see the light, so they're looking towards the light, and each one of them is trying to get to that light. There was those of you who have seen The Woman King, at the end when the king is talking and he's getting ready to anoint Naniska, he says, "We are a warrior people, and there is power in our minds, in our unity, in our culture. If we understand that power, we will be limitless." So the power is not in the numbers, the power is in the unity. And with this being an anointed platform as it is, when you come to this platform at least one time, you cannot leave without being touched with spirit. So if you feel different when you leave, that's why. Even if it's somewhere down the road and you'd be wondering, what happened? Or if, for instance, you feel a bit of anger coming on and you're getting ready to tell somebody about it, and then all of a sudden it's gone. Whatever you receive when you come to this platform, you take with you permanently. Not just you, but your babies also. We are Elizabeths, whether we're Elizabeth on this platform one time or many times. So expect today to take with you something that will be permanent in your life and in your spirit. I'm complete. Thank you, Lolly.
Ashe, thank you. Mama Het?
Greetings, Elizabeth.
Greetings. Let me see. There we go.
So I'm so glad I got in when I did, Lolly. I got to hear the story, the Buddhist story of the animals tied to the rope. And I was writing today, and in my writing, I thought about how challenges bring change. They're put there for you to change in some way. And I wrote that movement helps you move through. Hearing songs help you, hear that there is hope. You can do it through taste as well, a cup of coffee or your favorite meal or something that you enjoy eating. And then touch, being in fellowship with people. I feel like we're touching right now, being in fellowship together as women, as Elizabeths. And I just wanted to say thank you for bringing that. That's so important, because we don't have to stay where we are. It's a choice to stay. Movement, moving through a situation is getting the lesson that was within that challenge. Just like Danni having the answer machine come, she was able to share that information because we need to know that. It's funny how things get phased out, but they're not done with. So I'm complete.
Thank you. Anyone
That's
else
a
want
good
to share?
point, Mama.
Mm-hmm.
I just wanted to say real quick, that's a good point, that things get phased out, but they're not done with. See, that is the difference between being finished with something and then being complete with it. And so, yeah, there are so many things that are being phased out, and you're being forced
Mm-hmm.
to change. You are being forced to change. And so what do you do? All right. Do you stay and struggle? Or do you move to a new level and allow God to assist you with the change? All right, because God saw the change coming before you did.
Mm-hmm.
God saw it first. Okay. So everything serves a purpose for us, and there are things that we really do need to release so that God can take us to a grander and higher space.
Mm-hmm. That book, I don't know if you read it, it's a short book and it's called Who Moved My Cheese?
Yeah, baby.
Who moved my cheese?
Who moved my cheese?
And everybody's cheese was moved during the 2020, right?
Oh, say that.
Shut
Say
it
that.
down.
Shut
Who
it
moved
down.
my cheese? And it's basically about
Mhm.
two people and how they handle change.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you. Teresa?
Thank you, Miss Lolly, for your question this morning. It was posed earlier in the week by Queen Aduni when she asked, how does God speak to you? And one of the ways that was mentioned was through the senses. And and you brought it right back to us, as a reminder that God speaks to us in so many ways. And having the freedom that exists within the quietness that you brought up as well, with the animals and how they got quiet, and that's when the word comes through. So thank you for that. And the what's the word? The same word you was trying to think of.
Metaphor.
Metaphor.
There you
Yes,
go.
yes. Because I saw myself in that, like while you were reading it, I could see all of myself just running off, trying to listen to that voice and listening to the sense of smell and running all over the place and not being still. So yeah, the steak in the story too was a headbanger as well. Like, yeah, it's something just to sit me down. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
I had thought about for a second too, with the senses and how, one sense can lead us to using the other ones because, as I mentioned before, as mindfulness, we're bringing it all together. And it's interesting, like even in our lives, talking about change and everything, sometimes we can hear somebody say something about us we don't like, or we can hear a word that is like, something needs to let up, something needs to change. It smells like poop. There's something stanky in your life that you need to go figure out, right? So go smell it. Go smell it. Use your sense of smell. Where in your life is this stanky piece of garbage? Where is it? What do I need to clean up? I'm gonna look
Yes,
for it now.
you could even use that. Yes,
Yes,
even that.
yes.
Yes.
I'm gonna look for it. I'm gonna look for it now. I'm using my eyes. Where is it? What do I need to fix in my life? What do I need to do? What am I doing in my life? What do I need to do? All right, now let's go touch it. Let's go pick that up. Let's go pick it up, wrap it up, throw it in the garbage, throw it out. Let's get rid of it. Let's get rid of it. And now think about the words that are now coming out your mouth, the things that you're speaking over your life. Taste those words. Taste those words.
Yeah.
And now, and then you want to wonder, okay, women better wonder about what your life can look like moving forward. So I really feel like, this mindfulness approach to life, using the senses, allowing our senses to be our antennas for what spirit is telling to us and tying it all together within our lives is so profound and important. Yes.
There's a friend of mine, Diane. She's a singer, and she can hit these high notes. And I asked her one day, I said, "How do you know? How do you know that you're going to hit that high note?" And she said, "I can taste it. I taste it." I was like, whoa, that was profound to me. I can taste it. Now, for me, what I've realized is that it's a movement for me. When I need to hit a high note, I need to raise myself up so that I can hit that high note. So, yeah, all the senses are used. When you hit a high note, Lolly, what is how do you get there? What do you do? You hit a lot of high notes.
I do. I guess I visualize it first. Like I see what it looks like. Where am I trying to go? Where am I hoping to go? Where is my aim? Let me fix that. Where is my aim? And then when I get there, I position myself. So if it's my vocal muscles, it's my body, I position myself to be able to actually sing it. Yeah.
Wow. So in line with what Lolly was asking, we're going to just take a few minutes because we want our guest to have enough, because she has a lot to say. She's had her own business and teaching, and I know she's touched over 1,000 bodies over this time. So just a few more people on what sense do you use or are really like prevalent in your life that you use to do something that takes you, like when I want to sing a high note, my body, I bring my body up to hit it, like the girl that Diane who tastes the note. like Lolly, who sees it. What is it that when you want to reach something that you're not always there, we don't always walk around singing the high note, but you tap into what sense to get that, to reach that, to feel that, to hear that, to taste that, to get there. Is there anything in particular for a couple of you?
It's a breath. Some people take a breath. You inhale.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
My sense of wonder. I
Mm.
tapped into that. And what if I didn't do it? What would I because if it came into my consciousness, there's something there for me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So how dare I not follow through? Has anybody ever had an idea that God was speaking to you to do and you didn't do it? And you didn't do it. And how you, Meida got her hand up, yeah. And how you felt because you didn't do it.
Yeah.
Okay. So I let my sense of wonder pull me forward, and I get the vision, and I let the vision pull me into the greater good.
That's
Yeah.
great. That's sweet.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone else? And all of you this is your first time coming, we welcome you to Grand Rising Elizabeth. And just a little about Elizabeth. Elizabeth comes from the story of Mary, when Mary became pregnant with Jesus Christ. And the angel said, oh yeah, and your cousin Elizabeth is also with child, was carrying a miracle because she was old. And when Mary approached Elizabeth, her baby leaped. And so you want to be around people who cause your baby to leap and you cause their babies to leap. I always know when I'm with an Elizabeth, male or female, because immediately, and when I tell them, I said, I know you're an Elizabeth, because I'm an Elizabeth. And if you are that, it's going to happen. And ever since we've been talking, you've been talking about what you're excited about, what you're pregnant with. So you want to stay around, be around Elizabeth. Now you want to impact those who are not Elizabeth so that they can become pregnant by your excitement. So you really, the more of that you walk in, the more people that you meet, brothers or sisters, the more of them, even a child, they get to wondering about who you are and things around them. Elizabeth. So all of you are welcome to chime in and ask questions and all of that. Reverend Omani? Your hand is up, Reverend Omani. Okay, I see her head and her hand is up. I don't know if she can hear me.
She might be frozen.
Yeah, it looks frozen.
Unfreeze yourself. Loose yourself. There we go. You see that power? Loose here. Okay, we'll move on. Reverend, are you able to talk? Okay. Well, anyone else? Otherwise, Danny, you want to introduce our friend?
Is everybody complete for right now? Okay, listen here. Well, what did they used to say in the olden days? Hear ye, hear ye.
Yes.
This woman right here, when I tell you, has followed many dreams and have made them come true. She worked for the city of Detroit for, and she can tell you, it's got to be over 30 years. Or maybe she left early to follow the dream. When I was searching for, and I had known Meida, worked for human resources for the city of Detroit for years. Alita and Meida, you know, there was a little posse of folks, and I had known Meida. And I wanted to learn how a friend of ours, Al Worthy, gave me a massage. And I said, oh my God, you can make people feel like this? And I didn't say I want to incorporate this into my schedule. I said, oh my God, I have to learn how to do this. So in talking to Alita, she said, well, oh, just talk to Meida. I said, Meida know where to go? She said, what's wrong with you? Meida is a teacher. I say, of massage? She said, yeah. I'm telling you, you can know people and not know them.
Yeah.
You can know them and not know them. I knew she was a master teacher for the city of Detroit, but I had no idea that she taught massage therapy. And so here I go on this journey with her. She started and created a school called Stressage. And many of the massage therapists in this area were trained by her. She was the only Black instructor of massage therapy, not only in this area, but in the region. Do y'all hear me? Can you hear the words that are coming out of my mouth? Okay. In the region. All right. And then not only the massage therapy and the teaching, she got off into aromatherapy, and she's an alchemist, and she can mix those essential oils together. Lord have mercy, I'm still crying over some Peruvian sunset, baby. Look, she has studied overseas. She knows techniques that I don't think nobody in this country knows. Okay. And I'm not just talking, y'all. I'm telling y'all the absolute truth. She has things up in that brain of hers that she has not even used yet. Training she hasn't used yet. Techniques she hasn't used yet. Mixing and stuff she hasn't done yet. I'm telling you, this woman is a freak of nature. And not only that, she's a spiritual woman. She dances and she ministers to her church and her flock, and I just so let me just say this. I just need to introduce her so I can shut up and you can hear her, okay? So I really am honored to present to those who already know her, but introduce her to those who don't. And I am a fan of this woman for sure. I introduce to you all Meida Olliverria.
Thank you. Let me first say, posse in the house.
Hey, posse.
Yolanda, Alita, Danny. Now, and I'm excited that most of the people I don't really know here, and that's exciting. The first thing I want to say is, when I was asked to do this, I said, I was excited about it because it's forced me to get up off of my derriere and get back to things during the holidays. I get all these calls. Do you have any soap for me to buy? Do you have candles? It's like, I'm working on it. I've been working on it since before the pandemic. So this is really, really shooting the juice to make me do that. But I also have to say that in trying to determine what I was going to talk about, my plan was not to plan. And those who know me was like, well, duh, is that not the story of your life, Meida? is plan not to plan. So I'm going to start, and I got notes here, but let me say this. I'm so glad that this is going the way it is, because you can't see this too well. I just typed a few things to keep me on track, but all this I've been writing notes like a fool here. So I'm going to start completely different. Just because this is how the Spirit has moved me. It's quite evident that I am not here today to preach or to teach, which I do. I'm here to fellowship and to storytell and to share some stories. And I know, Alita, I see you, Saniel. We're still waiting on the book, your book of stories of your life. If you're ever bored, just call me. I got a story to tell. A dear friend of mine, I will never forget this. We were walking around Mumford track, talking, and she had some health issues. So I was trying to get her to walk. And I made the comment. So, and this has to have been 10, 15 years ago. And I said, yeah, when I get my life in order, probably early next year. And I looked and she fell out on the track laughing. She was laid out. And I said, are you okay? She said, Meida, get your life together next year. You'll never get your life together because that's who you are. Your life is this ever rolling and jumping and whatever it is. She said, my brother and I, God rest them both, and for sharing for the posse, that crazy cousin of mine, Victor, this is his sister, Marsha. Okay. She said, when Victor and I are bored, we say, oh, let's just cruise by Meida's house. We know something going on. She got a story to tell. So I am going to share information with you, and you have given me much on that story to tell, and it is going to include aromatherapy. But I want to start by saying, I was looking at the screen at the beginning, and then I saw what I'm going to call the Mighty Three: Sheila, Meida, and Danni. And Sheila said something about the nots in her life, what I am not. And I went across the room and I got this string. We're going to just talk about that word not. I'm talking to those three right now, but this is food for us all. So when you look in your life in terms of what you are and what you are not, those knots in your life are knots. And if it's more than one, and it's probably so, you got more than one. So what happens to your lifeline when you run into a knot? You're stuck. Bam, you're stopped. Bam. Here's your destiny. Here's all the things God has planned for you. And you're so busy trying to deal with the knot, you can't get over it and get on to what God has planned for you. So get rid of the knots in your life. Hey, you know, TS. Now I'm going to jump. And I love to listen to crazy Steve Harvey in the morning in my car every now and then. And a few weeks ago, he said something, and I wrote it down, and I don't know what my notes are, but I'm going to share 3 things he said, because one, I don't know if it was Lolly or Danny. Somebody mentioned this though. It was Danny, I think. And this is in terms of your life. And as we move into 2023, those people in your life that tie you to the past like it should have been dead, PASSDD, they are keeping you stuck in the past, that negative stuff. You got to let go of them, because you can't get into the present and the future if you're hung up in past issues, negative things. And we're going to have 2 visitors. I think that's one. Is that you, Gabrielle? Come on down. Monkey is my dog. When the mail carrier comes, we will know. Come on, Gabrielle. And this is my 3-year-old granddaughter. I thought she might not wake up, but come on down. You can come down. So that's number 1. Let go and release those people. That doesn't mean that you don't have to ever speak to them. If the people that you are spending most of your time with are those who always want to hang on to the past and keep you back there, come say hello real quick. Say hola, ¿qué pasa? Okay, good. Okay, you want to sit here? Okay. Okay, the second thing is forgive yourself, because Jesus already did. And the third thing is don't fear. He said, because God is near. I say, because God is here 24/7, all the time. So that's what I'm going to start with. And I'm just going to go quickly through my notes. Then that. Oh, books. Was it you, Sheila, who mentioned all those books in your library? If you don't lose them, get rid of them.
Yeah, it was Danny.
Oh, okay, Danny. Okay. So I started out looking at all my books. I've got a library in my garage. I got a library in my basement. I got a library in my bedroom, and I got a library in what's supposed to be my studio. But 3 books stood out. One, it was the author. And this goes back to the late 80s, early 90s. I was at a conference, and there was an aromatherapy booth, and the lady was not there. So someone said, will you sit in her booth? And I said, sure. And it ended up being Shirley Price, who was one of the greatest. And I don't even know if she's still alive, but I just had that opportunity. I feel like now, not then, I feel like God said, you are worthy. You don't even know aromatherapy yet, but you're worthy to sit in this table in this chair behind this table to represent Shirley Price. The other 2, Mystical Flora of St. Francis de Sales by Clara Mulholland. I have no idea, but I opened it up and it says, no date, to Meida. I better put some glasses on, hold on. Enjoy this book, a tool to enhance your prayer life. Back then, I didn't have a prayer life, I don't think. I don't really know that I was aware of. Especially as you study and use the essences that God placed in this world to lift up or calm our spirits. Stacy, I have no idea who Stacy is. I have no idea where we were. Message, God brings angels in and out of your life to remind you of, or to notify of who you are and what your purpose is. And it may not appear, or that angel may not appear for years after, but it doesn't make any sense. Right now, do you know why this is so important? Because I'm not just a licensed preacher in the Episcopal Church and a Eucharistic minister. I'm studying the priesthood. I'm studying to be a social justice priest at my age, and I am in my 78th year. Thank you, Jesus.
Wow.
So this book meant nothing to me then. And if you look, it doesn't look like I've used much of this book. And I just opened it up and look what I see. I leave you to think what good odor this beautiful lily flower spread around in Zachary's house. You know, and I don't even know what the book is about, but I'll be reading this book today. And the other one, my father actually owned Detroit's first Black bookstore, even though he did not think he was Black. It was from West Indies, Trinidadian. And my sister was working with him, and she found this book. It's called Fragrance Ascending. Let me tell you, and my sister wrote in this book, By that time, I was an aromatherapist. Meida, this book should offer you some good guidelines for designing your next line of oils. Much luck and success. Love, your sister. April 9th, 1995. So I just wanted to share that with you before I get into, and I just threw my notes away, before I get into really talking about the oils and essential oils. And Lolly and a few others were mentioning sense and sense. SENSC and SCENTS. So the way I approach aromatherapy has a lot to do with SENSE, common sense. If you want to get into the nitty-gritty of essential oils, put me a message in the chat. We're not going to get into the chemistry or anything else like that, but I just want to give you enough information to play with aromatherapy, have fun, and see how just being a novice can enhance your life. And if you realize that God has given you this talent, then it's time to start doing more research. I'm just going to mention one thing, couple things. At least 80% of your taste is created by your sense of smell. So if you have a poor sense of smell, you miss the joy of dark chocolate, bitter orange, sweet, fresh fruit. It's all just in your mouth, okay? 80%, that's a whole lot. I'm just gonna, okay. This is extremely, extremely important. This is one of the first important things that I never forgot. This was way back in the 80s, and I went to an aromatherapy conference in California, and I was a massage therapist, and I got out there, and there were hundreds of people, and there were not even 5 massage therapists. These were doctors, nurses, people from the medical field, and I'm like, oh my goodness, what's up with this? I got so much information there that I cannot even imagine. But the one thing that stood out is this. What's the difference between a fragrance oil and an essential oil? And I'm going to tell you what I say. This lavender here, if you're ever in my presence, I promise I'll let you have a whiff. You see the color? I brought this back when the last time I was in France, which was in the early 90s. I'm trying to think if I had retired or not. I brought this back. I bought this in the high mountains of France, which is the capital in the world of lavender. They say, we're taught here, you've got to use amber or blue bottles because it's going to be hurt by the sun. They sell this on the street, all in the streets in clear bottles. This is lavender that I bought from one of the farmers in France who grew it. And it's a hybrid. So the difference between this oil and going to the dollar store and buying that big old thing for $1 of bubble bath is this. You can put a few drops in the water. And even if you cannot smell it, those essential oils, those mini molecules are going to go right up into that nasal passage in the limbic system, and it's going to do all kinds of magic things to you. As women, if we're laying in that tub and that water seeps into the vaginal canal, all it's going to do is fight bacteria and everything else there. I can guarantee it. Even if you put a little bit too much in there, that dollar store ain't gonna do nothing. It's gonna give you a fake aroma. It's not gonna affect you mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, no way. And during the end of the day, you might be, oh, what's this itch from? It's from all that fake stuff up the coochie. Bam, there it is. Now, let me explain how in this That's our language. Let me explain what all these doctors and people said. And many of the speakers were not even from the United States, and they had interpreters. And what the man said is, and this is true, essential oils are components of the natural chemicals called essence in plants. Some plants have over 300 natural chemicals in them, chemicals made by God, not by Joe somebody in a lab. So if they can, and it can be done, they can do a chemical breakdown and say, oh, okay, so this is going to be da, 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 da. They can come up with that formula and they can create it in a lab. But here's the difference. In this bottle came the true essence from the plant. It comes from the flowers, the leaves, the roots, the bark, the whole plant. And each one of those chemicals had a job in that plant. That chemical says, I'm here so that when the bee comes by and gets me, it can take me over to that other plant that needs the female chemical so that that plant can reproduce. Or here's my job. My job in this plant is to keep the insects away so that it won't die. So I can't even hold up the real lavender. So in the prefabricated essential oil, there's no chemical can say, before I got put in this job, I did this. It did nothing. I got created in a tube. So when you try to use it for healing, whatever, it has no reference. Oh, I never did that before. I don't know what to do. So that's the best way I can explain the real power of aromatherapy. All of these, and I still don't 100% understand the chemistry of aromatherapy because it's so complex. But there are these chemicals, some of them are like, I know that the esters are usually gentle and safe, and they're the ones that are very therapeutic, contented, calm, and relax you. There are others that have something called phenols that can cross the brain barrier. So if you are prone to, what am I thinking of? At any rate, if you inhale that and it gets into your system, it may cause you to have a minor seizure or anything. You don't know, but you don't want to take that chance. So for those who want to play with aromatherapy, number one, less is always better. Peppermint is known to energize you, but you put a little too much peppermint on and you'd be like, trying to go to sleep. And I'm trying not to get into all my crazy stories. I'll do the stories, but I want to make sure you understand some basics about aromatherapy, okay? And I can't be here often because I teach a fitness class 9 to 10, but as often as I can get back, not as a speaker, you will see me here. So just want to see if there's anything that I left out. Okay, I have now, because we're fellowshipping, we're sharing here. If you want, you can use your chat box and I can look at them real quick. Who knows something about aromatherapy? That if anybody wants to say one thing that you think you know about aromatherapy, we're going to do that quick. And then we're going to use that. We're going to do the true or false.
Aromatherapy can be healing.
Yes, aromatherapy not only can be healing, aromatherapy is healing. Okay. Short story with that. When I had my last location on Wyoming, which I closed in 1996, there was a lady in the neighborhood who was a foster parent. And I couldn't give you her name. She could be here, I wouldn't know it. But she would call me like, Meida, I got to get in. Can I see you right now? Right now. I'm like, yeah, come on. And she made me feel like a doctor or something. It was good for my ego, you know, because it helped me to understand that I have a gift. And that's a gift or a talent, and that comes straight from the Bible. These are the back then, well, I'm not going to get into that, but anyhow, I realized I had a gift from God. So it was my responsibility to get the knowledge and the understanding so that I would not misuse the gift and I could use it for healing. This lady made me feel like I had a gift. So it wasn't so much ego. I felt like she was coming to see me, not because I was smart, but because I was wise, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
And I remember this one time she came in and she had a small new child that was severely autistic. And she said, Meida, I need something. I need something. And I said, you have lavender? She said, yeah, I need something more. So I just started thinking and I looked at my notes some. And then it's just like God came in and said, yeah, those two will work together. Those two won't. And then I would mix it up for her and say, take it, take it, take it. And that mixing is called making a synergy. So when you're working with essential oils, the synergy means they work together for the good. You just don't put, I often look how people take two opposing essential oils and they put them together and market them. And everybody runs down to Bath and Body and buying all that fake stuff. And even if were the real ones, they're two opposing things and they don't bring balance. They don't work together. Okay, someone else.
Danielle?
Hello, hi. First of all, I want to say it's a pleasure to put a face to a name because I've heard your name mentioned several times in the community, period, especially by Queen Aduni. I want to say that I've been using essential oils along my spiritual journey for the last 20 years. And you're right, to the point where I've switched out all of my, you know how growing up you use the candles, you use the glade sticks and all that. I don't have that. I have 2 essential oil diffusers and my essential oils. My partner calls it the puffer. And so I know when we get congested, there's certain blends that I use to make sure that it opens up our sinuses and opens up our nasal passages. And he'll be like, can you put that in the puffer? I'm like, okay, the puffer. Yeah, we got this. But I'm also a doula. I use essential oils in my doula work to create the environment, the balancing, nurturing, birthing environment for mother and child. I'm a yoni steam practitioner. I use the essential oils to create that ambiance and to also help work with whatever dis-ease that I'm working with. So essential oils have been embedded along my journey, period. But I still want to sit at your feet and listen to your stories. So
Thank you.
Make sure I get your information.
Absolutely, and I will put it in the box. And if there are any seniors here, I will be starting the first Monday in February. I will be doing an aromatherapy series at Detroit Senior Medical, whatever it's called, on 7 Mile and Evergreen. So that is an opportunity where I can give some concrete information, and you'll be able to do a shea butter, and I don't know where you'll be able to make products.
I forgot to mention to you too, I'm also a caregiver. So I do work with seniors and I use essential oils in some of the care where I work, especially when I'm doing foot care. When I'm doing foot care, them essential oils get dropped up in there.
Thank you. 2 quick stories. Thank you. First is when my first grandchild was born, she's 25 now. I went in the labor room and I had my lavender. It was probably this lavender oil because it's the most powerful I have. And so every time she'd start a contraction, I'd get that cold washcloth and I'd put it on her forehead. And she said, afterwards, she said, what was that you kept bringing me? And I said, lavender. She said, as God is my witness, every time I had a contraction, I was happy because I said, oh, good, she's coming back with that stuff. and because that's how it works. And now here's the other thing. I knew she was here for a reason. This is the commercial product, but it has key essential oil in it. This is good old. Unfortunately, this is petroleum based. I don't like that, but come on, let's do our thing. Ready? bigger. Thank you very much. Okay, extremely important. Folks in my age category, we grew up on Vic Salve, and they got this new stick. Oh, no. You got to rub it on the body because that's half of the healing. Grandmama's hand rubbing on it. I went to Trinidad for the first time 11 years ago. I thought this was a me thing, and my father was the West Indian, and it's a warm climate. They keep Vic Salve. My cousin, another cousin came and she says, "Yeah, girl, you got the vapor rub. I had that home." And so, "Girl, I got one for you." She pulled open the drawer. She about 4 or 5, "Take 2 home, girl." And I'm like, "Oh my, this is part of my heritage." The essential oil, eucalyptus. So I'm going to give you something very specific here. Eucalyptus, one of the least expensive, most powerful essential oils. And people wonder why my breathing blends work better than others. That's because you don't go out and buy just eucalyptus. I don't. When I make a blend, you have to consider the respiratory system. You got to break up the phlegm, then you got to pull it up, and you got to get it out. It could be your chest, it could be your head, or anything like that. Thank you. I'm looking at that. Sharon made a comment. There are, I believe, 11, 12, or 13 types of eucalyptus.
Wow.
I only use 3. Eucalyptus globulus, Eucalyptus citriodora, and I forgot what the other one is. The globulus, and the next time I'll have some samples. The globulus is round, like a globe. The citriodora doesn't even smell like eucalyptus.
Mhm.
Citriodora, what do you hear in that word that gives you a hint? Citrus. It has a citrus blend, and that is the one that is really the best for congestion and things. And I remember I was doing all this blending, and then I was like, "Oh my God, which one is this?" I slipped up. You know what I did? And you can't do this with an essential oil, but do this with me now as an exercise. Imagine that you're inhaling, because when you have an oil, you can do that. So I want you to do what Clinton said he never did. I want you to just relax. And I want you to close your eyes. And I want you to slowly inhale through the nose. And then just hold it for a couple seconds. And then exhale through the mouth. So you're going to inhale through the nose and then hold it, because if it's an essential oil, or even just the power of the oxygen breath, you want it to get through your body, and then you can exhale. I did that with that oil, and it went straight to my chest. I knew what it was. And it was with eucalyptus. If it had gone to my head, it would have been my headache blend, and I knew what the key ingredient was. So that's how I knew. So whenever you deal with essential oils, stop smelling. It's not about the smell. One of the other most powerful essential oils is tea tree oil. I'm not going to say it stinks, but I will definitely say it's not, something you want to put on and go out. It's pretty rough. It's pretty rough, but you can put it pure straight on your skin. And what I'm doing now, I'm going through a list of three main oils that would be, I would say, be the first ones that you would get. And that's lavender, tea tree, and peppermint, those 3. Because with those 3, you can make so many synergies. You can use them individually, or you can blend them different ways. And it can work with almost anything that's going wrong with you, from yeast infection to headaches to congestion to insomnia. We can go on and on to an infection, anything. Those are the oils. And they are all fairly inexpensive compared to others, and they're also basically safe. Tea tree oil is the one that pure tea tree oil comes only from Australia, and back when I was really in all my research, tea tree oil was the only essential oil that could not be duplicated in a lab. Don't hold me to that because I don't know if it's true or not. But I can tell you, when I used to do a lot of lectures. So with tea tree oil, yeast infection, blatant. Go back to what the Pistons used to say, the clean sweep. Put a little dab on your finger and sweep it up. Your gynecologist, put his finger up there. Don't be scared. Just
Now, Meida,
Uh-huh.
with the tea tree, I
yes.
know in shampoo, you know, that's
Yes.
where my area is the natural hair.
Yes.
Sometimes the skin is a little sensitive to the tea tree. So, and inserting into your vagina, should you be, you know, like diluted a little bit or what?
Good point. Rule of thumb is essential oils should always be diluted. Usually 20-1, basically. If you want that kind of specific information like that, I'm going to put my information in. You can text me and I can text you back, okay? Tea tree oil is one of the few that is really safe on the naked skin, but it's going to tingle. And I say that with the yeast infection, because you need to combat that quick, fast, and in a hurry, and it's better than monostat and everything else. And I'm saying just a few dots. You can put it on a tampon. There are other ways that you can use to insert it also.
Mhm.
But it's not going to burn, but it's going to have a little bit of a tingle.
Okay. Mama Evelyn has a question.
Yes. Go ahead.
Forgot it. I was, yeah, the you just said the 3 oils that we should have on hand.
Yes.
Do you have sources for your lavender? Because I know Danielle sells a brand of essential oils, but how do you make sure that they are what they're, you know, that's why I'm very hesitant.
I'm going to tell you right now, you cannot. That consortium I told you about, they showed how they took the top most expensive, reputable lines of essential oils and found out that there was a lot of those oils that were not pure, because it's that easy. It's really that easy. So your best bet is to go with a reputable company. I don't deal with companies. One of the problems with companies is because if they're network marketing, your price is going to be 3, 4, 5 times higher. There are a lot of inexpensive brands that are okay for just having fun and stuff and everything. But if you want to get seriously therapeutic, there's only one company I will mention that I believe is top, and that is doTERRA. And don't quote me on that. There's another company that I'm not going to mention the name. I don't have a lot of respect for that company, but that company is the company that brought aromatherapy mainline to the United States and got a lot of people in it and got a lot of people educated. My concern was some things that were said at the very beginning and about by one of the owners and it wasn't even about essential oils. I'm like, I'm not believing that. Basically, about him being the first person to be allowed into the pyramids or something, and it sort of turned me off. And that's a personal thing for me. So I would say, if you really want to get with the therapeutic things, I'm confident that doTERRA is a good line. And what I do, and I have not ordered essential oils in probably 5, 6, 7 years. That long. And when I ordered, because manufacturer had my own product line, so that I could make my products affordable, I had to spend $500, $600, $700 from one company to get a good wholesale price, or I had to buy a 5-gallon drum. I have never purchased an essential oil for under, except for jasmine. I have to go at least a pound or more. Now, somebody else had another question, because I just got another great story, but I want to answer what you want to hear first.
Mama Het.
Yeah, I just wanted to share. I have a friend who makes a body oil
Okay.
And she uses olive oil, castor oil, eucalyptus, rosemary, basil, lavender, lemon, peppermint, and jojoba. That's
And
a
what was the
blend.
last one?
Jojoba.
Okay.
It's Jojoba.
Yes.
I don't know
Okay.
how to pronounce it.
Jojoba is the
Jojoba.
closest. Jojoba oil is the closest to your natural body oil
So yeah, she
out of
puts
all of them.
in.
Olive oil is the one that goes rancid the fastest. Okay, so if you're using, just watch the shelf life, and you can tell because it'll start smelling a little bit different. And I'm looking at my time also. So,
Thank you.
oh, you're welcome. And again, we're looking at things for fun. I just have to share 2 stories. Danny, fasten your seatbelt. This is my dried lemongrass, and I'm actually working to make incense out of it. Not successfully yet, but so this is lemongrass. So I made this blend called Peruvian Sunset. So because it says, Danny, I'm trying so hard. I lost the formula. It's probably on an old computer before we had all this fancy stuff. I don't know. Before
It's on a floppy disk somewhere.
it probably is, yeah. And I got floppy disks that I haven't thrown out yet, so I may find it. But at any rate, the real story, this was magic for Danny because, and this had to be in the late 80s or the early 90s, that long ago.
Yes.
He has not forgotten it. Strong relationship between the memory and essential oils. Okay, so I was studying some advanced massage therapy in Massachusetts, muscle therapy, orthopedic. And I had a roommate, and all of a sudden she disappeared and she was acting all crazy and stuff. And then I had my Peruvian Sunset. I don't know what it was. It was in the room and I had used it. She came in the room after being MIA and she was like, oh, lemongrass. I said, yes. She got a complete healing. And I got clinics to tear up for things like this. Let me just tell you, that woman had a miscarriage while she was there. She didn't even look pregnant. She had a miscarriage while she was there. And she was, and I think it just happened, unassisted. At any rate, here's what she told me. This aroma took her all the way back home to childhood in Peru. And that's how she got healed. She said, in Peru, we wash our head and rinse with lemongrass. We drink lemongrass tea. We put lemongrass in our rice. It was her whole life. When she walked into that room, it was her life and her natural born culture. And that's how she got healed. So don't ever underestimate the power of aromatherapy. This little child here. I tell everybody this. With these little babies and children, if you're smoking a cigarette, you got alcohol on your breath, weed, or anything else like that, you can't have that around a small child. Because here you're hugging this baby and all this. This is a lifelong bond you have. And that baby's inhaling you. So when that baby grows up and she's hanging out with these dope heads and low life, drug addicts or alcoholics or whatever it is, it's because when that baby was little, the one who gave her so much love had that breath, had that smell on their clothes. And now when they grow up, all these other quote unquote nice folks, and I'm saying girls, that could be boys, either way. So you're wondering, why always around these kind of people? Because that aroma subconsciously says, not that this is a nice person or mean person, but this is the aroma of someone who's loved me since birth.
Wow.
Mm.
Wow,
Trust
that's
me.
powerful. That is.
It really
Ooh.
is. These are the
Mm.
things you're not going to get out there talking at regular lectures. That's why
Mm.
I decided to plan not to plan. I want to emphasize frankincense. That's not, but let me see the list. Peppermint, tea tree. Okay, let me go over this real quick. So lavandine is a hybrid. It's known for calming. Let me also explain, it promotes cell growth. So it's good for the scalp, it's good for the skin. And it's generally safe. Less is better. Too much lavender, you might get hyped up. Peppermint gives you that hitch in your get along. Peppermint is very good for headaches and pain, even applied, right on your skin. And it's cooling, even though it might taste hot to the tongue, it's cooling. It's cooling, so it's good for fevers. But some research, and I'm not up on the research, but I'm going on the research back there, might have changed. There's been a little bit of concern about using a lot of peppermint on small children or babies. Okay. Now, I'm gonna air some fragrant lawn underwear here for those in the posse who remember when we were going to a movie in Fairlane Center. You don't have to incriminate yourself. So we were late to the movie. We were driving around in this car. What movie are we gonna go? What movie are we gonna go? So I had my peppermint oil. So everybody just put a dab on their tongue in the car. Next thing we knew, we were driving around. We were like buzzed or something. We were driving around the parking lot and like, well, who's gonna go to this show? What show we gonna go to? We're not gonna go to this show. It's too late. I have no explanation for that, but I'm sure they're right now saying, yeah, I remember. It was ridiculous. It was, and we were packed in the car. It was ridiculous, but it was joyful. Tea tree, very antifungal. Quick tea tree oil story. I was going to vend someplace and I stopped at a yard sale in the country. And I jumped out and they had, which I ended up getting free, they had authentic Japanese kimonos. And I'm out looking at this stuff. All of a sudden I started hitting my leg. My legs were covered with mosquitoes. They bit the stew out of me. I'm like, oh my God. I ran to my car because I was on the way to a show, and I took out the tea tree oil and I just put it on my leg. Instantly, my legs stopped itching and there was not a lot of marks. They took the lady there, she traded me all my tea tree oil except for a few little bottles for those pure silk things.
Mm.
Another lady, fungus on the feet. I told her use the tea tree oil. 2 weeks later, her foot doctor ordered a gallon tea tree oil from me, a gallon. I was doing the financial happy dance that day. Now, let me talk about this. We're going into the spiritual realm now. And it's all about you and your chemical and makeup and your spiritual DNA, how some things work for you. I have a nickname, and it's definitely not spiritual, for frankincense. Well, it's called I'm Not Gonna Kick You Today oil. There's a reason for that.
Mhm.
I had a very bad, I'm trying to be really generic about this so it can't be traced back to the people, but at any rate, it was in one of my locations, and there was some really ugly stuff going on, even going to court and everything. And I was like a prisoner in my own facility. Anyhow, this particular person, I visualized it. It was like a real dream. The person had the long braids, really long. And I was sitting there distraught over what I was going through and trying not to act ugly. And I just visualized that this person was walking by me in that building in the corridor, and my arm went out and it grew. so that I stood tall. And as I put my arm down, it went all the way down and touched this person, touched that hair. And then I put my foot on that hair and put my hand on my hip and said, you do not know who you messing with.
Mm.
I got so scared. I got so scared. I started crying. I'm like, oh, Lord, have mercy. I'm about to kill somebody and go to jail. Thank you, Jesus. I was okay. To this day, I don't even need the oil. I can think, and I got chills all up and down my neck. I used to wear it in an amulet around my neck. I can just put my hand here and hold, and the job is done. Frankincense, and I use this in a sermon on a virtual service. I'm Episcopalian. We don't talk about the blood of Jesus, but I'm familiar with churches and with the blood of Jesus. So when I was doing my sermon about the three wise men and what you think you know is not even true about the three wise men, we don't even know how many there were. Yeah. I had to tell them something about the healing blood of Jesus. How did Jesus bleed? What happened for that blood to come out of him? Anybody tell me. He was beat, wasn't he? He was beat, stabbed, cut, wounded severely, and his blood came out. So we figuratively say the healing blood of Jesus. This is a healing oil, not just spiritually, but physically. Top oil for wrinkled, dehydrated, and aging skin. Very good for infections. You want to know how this oil gets out of the tree? This is, essential oils are high, mid, and low. So the lower ones are the ones that have a more subtle aroma, but they last longer. They don't evaporate as fast, and they don't go bad as fast. Frankincense, well, everybody knows this is what they burn in the churches as a resin incense. Frankincense, to get frankincense, the oil or the sap to process anywhere you want, the skin of the plant has to be broken. Just like to get maple syrup, they screw that thing in the tap. To get frankincense, you got to brutalize that daggone frankincense tree. You got to beat it. You got to pierce it. Once you pierce it, the healing power comes out. Processed hasn't sold. That's a true thing. That's not makeup. It's not makeup. So when you talk about the healing power of oils, keep in mind, healing begins from within. If you don't believe it's going to heal you, it's not. If you believe it is, that's half the battle won. That's half the battle won. And that's why something like 70, 80, 90% of death is stress related. That includes cancer, all of these things. That is why when one person dies, someone else, a beloved one, goes right behind them often. Everybody check your check the things in the chat box. There's good information. Thank you, Mama Harris. I can't pronounce it right. Mama Heth. She put some information on. Say it again.
Mama Heth.
Okay, Heth. Thank you. On the frankincense plant. Thank you very, very much. And I just priced frankincense. Somebody else did. They were asking me about it. And she said frankincense now is going like $79, $80 for 1/3 of an ounce. I'm sure glad I got frankincense. And I don't know if I haven't looked myself. Also sandalwood, another sacred healing oil. It's
Mhm.
really hard to get pure sandalwood now. The plants have been just abused, and so it's really in crisis also. So if you do like pure, I'll tell you, I like the aroma of sandalwood. So I will use the nature identical sandalwood just for the pleasure, but if I'm trying to heal, that's another story. And this may be this might be my last story. I've got it. Let me just bear with me 1 second. Oh, you found it. Good. I was trying to see.
The baby is so sweet.
Yes, she is.
She is so sweet.
Trying to see if I have
And
this real quick.
So cute.
knowing how to entertain herself while grandmama is doing her thing.
Mhm. Mhm.
Mm.
And I don't have, I thought I had one down here, but I don't see it. Yeah. She told me yesterday she wanted to go outside and looked outside, and she came and she gave me my hat. I didn't even know where it was. I said, "What's that for?" She says, "It's cold outside, Grandma. We're going outside. It's cold. Put your hat on." I'm like, "Okay." I was looking for this little itty battle. Everybody remembers Martha Jean the Queen.
Yeah.
This was before I retired. I retired in 1994. Thank
Wait,
God.
wait. Lolly, wait a minute. Lolly, do you have any idea who Martha Jean the Queen is? I didn't think so. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. Y'all get her up to on that. Okay, so I had what's called administrative whatever. So I didn't have to punch in and punch out, thank God, because I had the location on 6 Mile. I'm trying to remember. I think that was it. And so I went on my lunch break. I was getting that you pay for an interview with the Queen. It was like 3 minutes, and they would record it and they would pay it twice a day. So I asked someone who worked for her, what is her favorite oil? And they said jasmine. I said, "Oh no, I cannot have anything but pure jasmine. This is Martha Jean the Queen." So I ordered a very small amount, and I still have some. The little vial is not as big as my baby fingernail. It's really little, and I still have this around. So I made a basket or something with that jasmine in it. Trust me on this. I took my lunch break, went up to my office, and I started interviewing her. Supposed to be 3 minutes, 7 minutes. Okay, y'all, we're gonna take a commercial break. She kept me on that interview 11, 12, 13, some kind of crazy minutes. And she kept saying, "Oh my gosh, and this jasmine oil that this," she said, "Y'all folks," and when Queen spoke, people did what she said. She said, "Y'all folks, this sister out there on 6 Mile trying to, we need you to support her business." People started coming up. I couldn't go back to work. I had to call my assistant and say, "Cover for me. I can't get back." This is God's honest truth. People were driving up, coming in, and I was there alone. It's like, "What do you want?" "I don't know. I got $10. What can you sell me?" I'm like, "Oh my goodness." It was crazy. And then some little old lady called in. "Hi, what can I do to help you?" This lady was an old lady, old. I could tell by her voice, crickety old. She wanted to come up there and do anything and everything she could just because the Queen said. And it wasn't the Queen speaking. Guess what? It was that pure. That would not have happened with some store-bought fake
Jasmine.
And that's why the book that I'm eventually going to complete, my aromatherapy and spiritual book, is called A Jasmine Kind of Day. Let me just say this. Think about jasmine. Think about how those little tiny flowers are so strong and powerful. And when you're just not feeling it, just decide, I am going to have a jasmine kind of day. And you don't have the oil, but let your mind start the process. Oh, you need it.
Hey, Meida, tell the story about the baby on the airplane.
Oh my goodness. Now you know we go back. this is what I was going to say at the very beginning. The three of us, Danny, Sheila, and myself, something that you were saying at the very beginning. I don't know what it was, but it was about a nap. How when you were telling the Buddha story, we are a prime example. Sheila, my sister, Danny, my sister, when we met 40 some odd years ago, did any of you ever imagine that we were going to be proclaimed true believers in God the Almighty, and that we would be God first sisters, still doing whatever we're doing together here now, back then?
No, had no idea.
It was all in God's plan.
No
all
idea.
in God's plan. And here's another quick one with Danny. Thank you, Butterfly. With Danny, Shahira said, and I always mispronounce it in Inyala's. I can't get it out of my mouth right.
You said it. Iyanla.
Okay, Iyanla. I always say Inyala. Okay, so Shahira was saying, Meida, you got to give my friend a massage. You got to meet her. You guys are just alike. Meida this, Meida that. Okay. We tried. Every time she came to town, something happened. It didn't work. Danny, nothing to do with this. They met. And it was no doubt. That's because what's mine is mine. What's not mine isn't mine. What's yours is yours. That was not meant for me. And if it had not been the two of them, that turned. Whoops. Okay. I had some impact in Danny's. All I did was help plant a seed. But when those two got together, her whole life, her whole focus came to fruition. And I cannot tell you, I am so proud of you, Danny, because I'm just grateful that I had enough sense to know I'm not supposed to be massaging that lady. That's not my call at all. And to be grateful to know, I know who it is. Unbelievable. That's good enough for me. That's better for me. Now that story on the plane, coming back from France with these. And by the way, I took every single penny I had to buy whatever I could get from that grower. And all the other people, they didn't understand. I'm a businesswoman too. I'm taking this stuff back home with me. And so on the plane, there was a little infant just crying nonstop. The mother was miserable. The plane was miserable. Shasha mama. Here. There. Put that on. Okay, there you go. So you got to be careful going up and trying to help somebody, especially take a whiff of this. So I put some on a Kleenex and I just sashay my little stuff up to the front. And as I walked back, I sashayed past that lady and I whipped it up in the air. That baby got quiet, never made a sound afterward. And the whole plane was like, yay, yay. And the mother was like, oh my God, thank you, thank you, thank you. Just in the air. And guess what else? While that was in the air, I was killing a whole bunch of germs. All kinds of germs. All kinds of germs. Yes, ma'am.
We're on a plane and the baby is crying and everything's all upset. We just whip out our lavender.
Yep. And somebody asked me, and I told her, asked me this on here. She said, I heard that there's an oil to attract the opposite sex. I said, oh baby, I have more testimonies on that oil than any. I got testimonies up the kazoo. And it's called Ylang Ylang. People say Lang Lang, Y-L-A-N-G, Y-L-A-N-G. And this comes from a flower, I think in the Philippines. It's a big flower, and the tradition is to put this big fragrant flower on the wedding bed. Okay, so I have a nickname for that one too, and it's called, thank you, Clark Gable. Frankly, my dear, I really don't give a, because to me, it's not important that it will attract. This is an oil that a woman would wear around men. Men would wear it's on the tip of my tongue. Oh my God. What was the hippie oil that everybody used to wear? Sort of. Oh, it'll come to me in a minute. At any rate, so what this oil does, it works with you, your self-esteem, so that when people acting a fool around you, you can sit there and think, oh, they the fools, not me. They can carry on, y'all. I'm good. I'm good. That's what it does. My personal 2 experiences on my job at DDOT, where I was training director. The support staff just thought I was, you know what, they thought I was a stuck-up, and I didn't know why, but I took that attitude. Okay, I would give you reasons. So I bust in with my fur coats, real fur coats, and I strut in like I was. I said, y'all want to hate me? Hate me. I got hate this one here. So one day, like if the elevator would open, either I wouldn't get in or they wouldn't get in. So one day I had, and I just put that on as perfume, a little dab, just a little dab. So they didn't smell it, but they inhaled it.
Inhaled it.
That the doors opened and I looked and I'm like, oh my God, they're all out there. Ooh, they're gonna attack me if they come in here. And they were all looking like, so they got on the elevator anyway. By the time we got to a floor for somebody to get off, they were talking about, girl, I like your coat. How come we never go out to lunch? We got to do that. And I'm like, oh, sweet Jesus. Guys, all of a sudden they were loving on me. Eling helps you to love on yourself. That's the most important. Y'all crazy. I'm the queen of this house, and I don't even have to tell you, because it's not your business. My business is that I'm the queen. Your business is whatever you want it to be. That's number 1. Number 2, it draws positive around you. Now, the third one, yeah, it can work that way because, I will say her name, because if she's out there, she will laugh. She's in the holistic community. Her name is Raven. Full of figure sister. She used to go to the West Indian Club, and she would just dab it behind one ear, and she would sit up by the bar, and all night long, men would come and talk to her on the left side, never on the right. Hey, how you doing? You all right? And everything, never on the right. And she said, I would just sit there and laugh. Now, when I was at DDOT, I had some on, and the guy in the print shop came. I went in there and I went in to say something to him, and he point blank, he said, Meida, I don't know what it is, because I really consider you a sister, but you need to leave right now, because I'm not thinking that way about you. I don't know what it is, but go, get out of my face. Go. I'm like, really? The last one, anybody remember, this is old school, the Body, Mind, Spirit festivals that used to be way out. I had a booth there every year. And this year, this lady's walking by and she stopped, she backtracked. She said, oh my God, it's you're the one, you. And I'm like, what did I do? She said, last time you were here, I bought this oil yang or something. She said, and by the time I got home, the winos were tipping their hats. Every place I went, I couldn't stand it. I'm like, really? And everybody was like, oh, can I buy? I did not have one bottle with me, not one. But her talking about what happened to her the previous year drew a crowd. And they were like, really? And she said it was ridiculous. She said, you name it. The wino, and she just went on, and I don't remember the details. So yes, there is great power in aromatherapy, power in essential oils. I'm going to put my information in the chat. And
please, yes.
And if you know whoops, hold on. Somebody say something while I'm doing this. Sharon, I couldn't tell them the story about the bees because it had nothing to do with aromatherapy.
Well, I just want to say that Meida has forgotten more than I could ever remember. The sheer level of her knowledge and and how her brain works is just absolutely amazing. You know, we have hundreds of stories about her, and not only how she walks in this world, but really how she has healed people. Please know, please know that as Queen Aduni stated, she has probably touched well over 1,000. It might be tens of thousands, you know, because not just body touch, what she touched with her sharing, how she touched with her knowledge. She has truly touched a community, this community, where her name has gone forward, and now many of you all get to put a face with the name. So we have been so blessed today. She has put her information
Thank you.
into the chat. Please make a note of it. And use her, call her, you know, have
Please
her
do.
guide you and share with you what she knows. This is just what you heard this morning is not even this much of what of what she knows, you know. And and that visual about the knots was so powerful.
Yeah.
That
I'm telling you, this is what we do.
This is what we do.
We
And
hear,
so
we hear something and we embrace it.
Yes.
Sheila
And
had
it's
no
not-
idea what she was saying to me.
Yeah.
I'd put those words out there. A whole new meaning to the word. I would have never thought of anything like
Yes.
that. This is Sheila sharing. So we have to share. And
Yes.
in terms of sharing, Danny, all the posse members have been telling me for years.
Yes.
You should have been a millionaire 10 times over, Meida. And I'm like, well, that's because I never really took all of this as a serious business. And you know what? Do you think I have regrets? Absolutely not.
Oh my God.
I
You
have
are a
no
millionaire.
regrets. I'm a multi-millionaire billionaire.
You are. Yes.
In terms
Yes.
of all the people, you know, that have touched me. And the
Yes.
things, and like I said, I'm beginning a whole new life 2023.
Yes.
And I'm proclaiming 2023 is not all about me, but it's about me.
It's about, yeah.
And everybody
Absolutely.
do that because, you know, you focus more on yourself and you can be better for others.
Yes.
And we have to
Yes.
share. And I'm all about caring and sharing and giving. I used to have a
Yes.
stamp and it had two hands on it like this. I would stamp all my money and it had two hands and it would say, to give is to recognize how you have received.
Yes.
Yeah,
Wow.
Trust me
that's
on this.
powerful.
I received more today. I gave a lot, but I received so much more. Thank you.
Oh, wow.
And I
And
still
in
do
that-
massages. I still do body work.
Add to that, Meida, we used to carry at the shop. Meida would make soap and she'd make it into a bun cake. It was
Mhm.
a bun cake, and
It
we
was
would
a-
just
mhm.
do slices and sell the
Right.
slices of the and the cakes and I mean you know, she makes soaps and just so many different ways to embrace the different oils and such. And so yeah, what I want to do is take a moment because we have a lot of new people here and we want to acknowledge you if you can. If you would just pop in and just, you know, just say welcome. You see the ones that are, well, yeah, if we can just pop in and say your name. I know that Alicia is new, so if you can just pop in and say Grand
No, she's
Rising.
been here before. She's been here before.
Oh, okay. Well, remind me of who you
But she can
are.
come in, yeah, but yeah.
Remind me of who you are.
Yeah.
Grand Risings, everyone, and Happy New Year.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much for this space. I've enjoyed just being in the atmosphere of learning and receiving this outstanding energy. I had to sign off, block my camera because I'm working from home, but just the voices and the information saturating my space lifted me up, even when I had to conduct an appointment. So I say this humbly, that I'm truly thankful for this space. And thank you all, ladies. I appreciate you. I am complete.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank
Um,
you.
Oh, Valanda, I'm gonna bring Valanda on here one day. She's gonna be my guest.
Absolutely. Woo, Dr. B.
Dr. V, tell us what you do.
Woo.
Greetings. I hope you can hear me.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I just want to say love, hugs to all you beautiful Elizabeths. And as I'll be joining you sometime soon when I can talk long enough to occupy the space.
Say, we will lift you.
You're-
up. I can hear
Yes.
you, your little struggle there.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we will keep you in the light. of
Yes.
healing.
And in the meantime, get yourself some sweet potato.
That's right.
For sure.
And just so you know, your presence is enough. So anytime we see V. Anderson Sweet Potato Delights, you don't have to be on camera. Just your presence is enough. Amen. Yes.
Mm.
Is it you who's
Hey,
on
girly.
Lobster and Grand River?
No.
That's a different sweet potato lady.
Yes.
Lobster is a sweet potato sensation. That's the Thomas family. I love her dearly. Sweet Potato Delights is strictly vegan, 100% vegan manufacturing goods. You can find us at Trap Vegan. The
No,
Q
we're gonna
Kitchen.
find you in the chat. You're gonna put
Oh,
it in
okay.
the
Yes,
chat.
you can find my
So we
website
can,
as well.
that's right. So we can write it down and commit it.
Yeah. Or you can visit me at our manufacturing spot in Rosedale, North Rosedale Park. But I'll put the website in my phone number as well.
Please, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
If you don't,
Thank you.
just call me and I'll remind you of where she is.
Mhm.
Kayla, this is your first time?
And just a quick thing on Valanda, hummus.
Oh,
All kinds of hummus.
All
Once you
kinds
try
of-
hers, you will never eat any other. Okay, go ahead.
Kayla, you want to greet?
Hey everybody. I really enjoyed listening to everybody, and the oil information was really, really great.
Yes.
I'm also joining from work, so
Okay.
but it was just really powerful what everybody was saying. And this is actually my second time, but it's been a long time. So glad to be with you ladies this morning.
Welcome back. Yeah.
And someone is on the
Thank
iPhone.
you.
I don't see their name. Okay.
No, they're gone now.
Oh.
They had to go back. They had to go back to work.
I'm sorry, that may have been me, Sheila, because I have to sometimes I'll have you on the phone and the computer.
Oh, okay. All right, baby.
Can I say something right quick now that she's chimed in?
Uh-oh.
I don't think any of us, Sheila, Meida, Sharon, Valanda, I don't think any of us would have known each other had it not been for Alita. She is a posse creator.
That's right.
Okay.
That's absolutely right, Danny. You are absolutely correct.
There is no way we would have come together, and it's some more posse members, but this could not have happened with these souls right here had you not been the conduit. So I thank you.
Thank you, girly.
For getting all these assorted nuts together. Okay.
This is
all of us assorted nuts. Okay.
Right.
So thank you for doing what you do. Okay.
Hey, I bring people together.
You bring people together. Absolutely.
This is y'all's crew from back in the day, huh?
Oh, girl, back in the day, for real. Oh, Lord, have mercy, Jesus.
And still
So,
just as hyped. We all still just as hyped.
Just as hyped as we were back then. Yeah, yeah.
For
We
real.
move a little slower. We may move a little slower, but we move for sure. That's for sure.
We're moving.
Yeah.
Well, you know,
And the
I
one
love
thing
all you guys. It takes one nut to know a bunch.
That's right. Okay.
But the one thing about Alita too is that she's everybody's best friend. And
Yes.
nobody's jealous of it. You know, it's like, hey, you know, like,
Right.
You know, it's all good. I know that our
10:04. So we're gonna bring it
yes.
to a close.
I know that our hour is getting a little long. I did have something to share right quick, Queen, if I may. The knots reminded me of a prayer out of One Day My Soul Just Opened. No, Every Day I Pray by Yama. And it goes like this: Dear God, please untie the knots that are invading my mind, my heart, and my life. Please remove the have-nots, the can-nots, and the do-nots that invade my mind. Please erase the will-nots, the may-nots, and might-nots that invade my heart. Please release me from the could-nots, the would-nots, the should-nots that invade my life. Most of all, dear God, I ask that you remove from my mind, my heart, and my life all of the am-nots that have allowed me to hold back. Wow. Please erase from my mind the thought that I am not good enough. Please remove from my heart that I am not loved enough. Please untie from my life everything that I clutch that supports the belief that I am not enough. Today, dear God, I come to you humbly and reverently asking that you untie, eliminate, and erase all of the knots that have invaded every aspect of my life. For your mercy and your grace, I am so grateful. Let these words take on the presence of the Holy Spirit to become living conditions in my life. Let it be so, and so it is.
Ashe.
And amen. Whew.
Yes.
Wow.
All right, Queen.
With that, give yourself a big hug.
All right.
Love on yourself. And love and hug the world, all of you, all of them, and sprinkle goodness and love and peace and joy all over the world today. And make it fun. Miff it today. Make it fun, fun, fun. Woo-hoo.
Thank you, Meida. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank
Thank you all. Much love. Much love.
I'm going to post in the WhatsApp an opportunity to vend for vendors with Sky Covington. She has a big event coming up, and she's giving us 50% off. So I'll post it, and thank you so very much. Ashe.
Ashe.